If you're a fan of the Witcher franchise and have been frustrated and angry over the Netflix adaptation and how their writers have treated not just the franchise, but particularly the character Geralt, who the series is focused on, then you'll probably find yourself to be sympathetic to this article concerning the new Castlevania series, Castlevania Nocturne. So I watched the trailer for Nocturne recently and it looked pretty good. Not the most exciting trailer, but I'll probably check it out. And so today I'm looking at an article by Niche Gamer, written by someone named Fingal Belmont, and it's someone who disagrees with my opinion on the Castlevania franchise. So this article, titled Opinion, Netflix Castlevania Mocks a Beloved Video Game Franchise. So it says Netflix's Castlevania animated series spanning 4 seasons ventured into the world of a long cherished video game franchise. The series thoughtfully picked up the events of Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse as its starting point, an era with ample potential for creative storytelling while staying true to the timeline. However, this seemingly promising journey took an unfortunate turn, straying far from the essence of Castlevania. So, before I go further, I feel the need to say that I never played the Castlevania games, and I still haven't. So when I watched the original series, I watched all 4 seasons. I enjoyed it. It was a pretty good show, but I had no reference when it came to the source material. So I could not tell you whether or not they stuck to the storylines or faithfully adapted the characters. But the reason why I'm covering this is because I know what that feels like as a fan of Marvel Comics, DC Comics, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, so many other fandoms out there who have experienced this exact same thing. And I enjoy seeing perspectives of other fandoms and other hobbies that I'm not necessarily invested in. So, continuing, from the very first episode, it was evident that the show's direction missed the mark, disappointing those who truly admire the authentic Castlevania experience. That's pretty surprising. I mean, the first episode, I wouldn't say it's the most compelling premiere for a series like that, but that sounds pretty bad. Continue with as a sequel series approaches in September, following the Rondo of Blood storyline, hopes were high that Netflix had learned from past mistakes. Regrettably, the showrunners chose to double down on deviating from the core elements that make Castlevania special, which everybody loves. Everybody loves when you get to see your franchise adapted into a television series or a movie, and a lot of the things you're hoping to see are completely absent because either the studio didn't think they were important or they felt like they needed to update that material for a modern audience. In this comprehensive feature, a team of dedicated vampire hunters and I delve into the shortcomings of Netflix's Castlevania. It's important to note that my critique is primarily based on the initial episode, which was enough to reveal a show seemingly driven by cynicism and a desire to subvert the essence of the beloved franchise. So I absolutely hate that word, subversion of expectations. The excuse every Hollywood executive, director, and writer comes out with when their movie bombs and they feel like they need to cover it up by saying, well, we wanted to subvert fan expectations. We didn't want to just give you guys what you wanted. We wanted to give you what you didn't know you wanted but needed because that's a great business model. God forbid you give the people who are giving you their money the thing that they're actually asking for. So the first criticism they make here is based on the music. One of the defining charms of Castlevania lies in its unforgettable and atmospheric soundtrack, which has captivated fans for years. Surprisingly, this aspect should have been a straightforward win for the show. However, Netflix's adaptation falls short, displaying a disregard for the rich musical legacy of the video game franchise. The OST from Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse alone offers a treasure trove of possibilities to explore and interpret. Throughout the history of Castlevania games, not a single one has been plagued by a subpar soundtrack. Later releases on the GBA and SNES platforms further expanded this ever growing library of exceptional musical choices. Yet, to the dismay of fans, Netflix's show squandered this golden opportunity to create the perfect ambiance. Instead of embracing the beloved video game music, the series seems to dismiss it, leaving fans disappointed. Even the most basic utilization of these iconic themes in the show's intro or outro was overlooked by the showrunners, leaving viewers yearning for the authentic Castlevania experience. Now, this is something that I can't really relate to because I don't really care for video game adaptations in general. So the soundtrack is not something that it's not something that usually bothers me. Like if they made an X-Men movie and didn't include the soundtrack for X-Men the animated series, that wouldn't bother me. I guess the things that I'm into just don't have the same emphasis on the soundtrack that apparently Castlevania does. The second point of criticism is cheap subversion and character assassination. So when Trevor Belmont first graced the screen in Castlevania 3 Dracula's Curse, The opening shot of him kneeling and praying to a cross spoke volumes about his character. His deep reverence, unwavering faith, and devout nature revealed that his ultimate weapon against Dracula was not just physical strength, but also his unshakable belief. The original NES game, limited in its storytelling capacity, relied on visuals and atmosphere to convey its message. Nonetheless, it made it abundantly clear that the real Trevor Belmont was a man deeply rooted in faith. In the animated adaptation by Netflix, however, Trevor's introduction took a different turn. Portrayed as a drunken slob disavowing his family's lineage, the show seemed to present him as a godless character, seemingly diverging from the essence of the real Trevor Belmont. Netflix's animated show depicts him as a godless bum because the show's primary writer, Warren Ellis, is an insecure atheist who does not know how to write a character like the real Trevor Belmont. So there's a lot to unpack there. Personally, I don't have any problem with the writing of Warren Ellis. I was actually kind of excited when I learned that he was part of the Netflix series, but I can definitely understand where the writer is coming from. This sounds like another Witcher situation where someone who may disagree with the source material or think it's silly decides to completely change the protagonist or the hero. Now, I'm not a religious person, but I do believe in staying true to the source material, especially when it comes to main characters and presenting them not only visually as they were in the source material, but also in terms of personality, values, beliefs, behavior. And just from their description, I can agree that, yeah, the kind of drunken bum that he was portrayed as in the series definitely sounds like a far cry from what he was in the game. While the game allowed for ambiguity and abstraction, the adaptation had ample material to work with, but it seemingly overlooked Trevor's true identity. This led to numerous fans to question the writer's approach to this adaptation, especially regarding his portrayal of Faith in the series. Again, this is something, the portrayal of Faith is not something that bothers me personally, beyond the fact that it deviates from the source material. The third critique involves offensive character redesigns. So the above artwork slides are supposed to be the same character, so obviously one of these is very different from the other two. Castlevania Rondo of Blood, originally a PC Engine CD game, gained fame for its anime style art and historical accuracy typical of 90s anime. Annette, among the maidens Richter sought to rescue, was portrayed with light skin, blue eyes, and lavender hair, perfectly fitting the game's aesthetic. With Castlevania The Dracula X Chronicles on PSP, a remake of Rondo of Blood, new character designs emerged to align with Symphony of the Night's style. Ayami Kojima, known for her masterful Baroque-esque illustrations, took on the task, introducing some creative liberties while staying true to the essence of the character. So, obviously, for these changes, they changed the hair color, which some might see as a big deal. But other than that, it seems more like stylistic choice. On the left, you have the more anime version, and then on the right, you have, like they said, the Baroque esque kind of like Victorian style art. And the difference is here, it's not obviously not just animation. They changed the character's skin color, hair, and the overall design. Obviously, you can't see it here, but if you've watched the trailer, the overall design of the character. The Castlevania Nocturne teaser showcased character redesigns that deviated significantly from the original depiction. Some viewers found the changes not only jarring but also offensive and off putting, making it difficult to recognize the characters without prior knowledge. Netflix's bold attempt to adapt Ayami Kojima's revered work has faced criticism, especially concerning Annette's transformation from a Victorian era alabaster skinned maiden to a dark skinned dreadlocked tomboy. Concerns arise about the extent of these alterations, with even the above character Isaac facing the dreaded red-headed casting that is so prominent in Western media. So yeah, because I didn't know about the characters, I wasn't aware of that. But man, I don't know what it is with Hollywood and even Netflix always replacing the white redheaded characters, and for some reason always replacing them with black actors or like race swapped animated or drawn characters. It's weird. Like Hollywood has something against redheads. Number 4 is Grant Dynasty was done dirty. I have no idea who this character is. Throughout the 4-season run of the Castlevania series and adaptation of Dracula's Curse, one notable absence left fans disappointed: the exclusion of the beloved character Grant. Despite the introduction of various original characters, the show failed to incorporate Grant, a fan favorite from the game. So, yeah, I would have never known who that character was without reading this. Initially, the omission might have been understandable in the brief 4-episode first season. However, as subsequent seasons expanded in length, the absence of Grant, one of the main characters who joins Trevor, became more conspicuous. His intriguing design alone suggests a captivating and morally complex backstory. This lack of attention to essential game elements raises concerns about Netflix's approach to interpreting Castlevania. While there may be other issues with the series, this glaring oversight alone has deterred some fans, like the ones mentioned in this feature, from fully engaging in the show. Which is one of the biggest problems with fandom these days, is because everything is so watered down and whitewashed or, blackwashed in some in some occasions, it's getting harder and harder for fans of the source material to enjoy adaptations. They're consistently and progressively getting more and more altered and marketed to the mainstream audience, which you would think they could do without making so many changes. I mean, if these are popular franchises that the studios think will make them money in the first place, then why not keep them as they are? Stating that things need to be updated for a modern audience, it's just a lame excuse to change things. There's no good reason for it. Fans can go play those video games and see the changes you made. Fans can go read the original comic or novel or previous adaptations. Nobody's going to get hurt by seeing the source material. And I think fans of the source material, as well as the mainstream audience, would enjoy it if the adaptations were more faithful. Now, while I didn't relate with some of the criticisms that this person had with Castlevania, and I myself enjoyed the series, I definitely understand the complaints. And now I'm definitely going to look at Castlevania Nocturne as not as impartially as I would have otherwise, but I think that's fair because, like I've mentioned many times in many videos, I think source material and continuity is extremely important. And if the adaptation is going to deviate from that for no good reason, then they absolutely deserve our complaints. They deserve people to not watch it or to criticize it. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section, especially if you're Castlevania fans. I've not really heard a lot of detractors from the series, but I also haven't heard a lot about the series in a while. So let me know what you guys think. If you enjoyed this video, I would appreciate it if you hit that like and subscribe button, as well as the notification bell so you never miss out on a new video. Thanks for watching.